distributed. Great. And here you are. We are ready to go. This is the Arena Summit Georgia info session. We're excited to have you here. I'll pass it to Jessica if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm so excited to be with you here this evening. My name is Jessica. I use she, her pronouns, and I am from Cypress, Texas. That is a suburb of Houston, Texas. But you're finding me this evening in Brooklyn, New York, where I have lived for the last almost 11 years on unceded Lenape land. And I like claiming this background because I feel that it proves that anyone can have a political career regardless of your background. So I'm a former theater arts administrator turned cultural worker. I got trained as a meditation instructor somewhere in there. And in there, I also got a degree in art and public policy. So I am joining you this evening as Arena's Deputy Trainee Director. So happy to be here and excited to meet you. My likes are Beyonce, an oat milk cappuccino, particularly with an extra shot of espresso, depending on where I am and how strong the espresso is. Some coffee shops do espresso better than others, and you discover that along the journey. I also love my cat. I love contemplation. I love books, and I love organizing. Jess, I'll pass it along to you.
Thanks. My name is Jess Weldon. I'm the training director here at Arena, and I think that someone else in my house is going to make a cameo. I have a little dog named Daisy who is very outspoken and has her own agenda that doesn't always collide well with mine. I am based in Austin, Texas. I guess we are based in Austin, Texas, and have a background in program management. I have worked at split entity organizations, so PAC and a C4, so have experience running organizations like that on the ground. And my campaign background is mostly in organizing with a little bit of data and digital sprinkled in there as well. So very excited to be here with you to talk about the summit. And as a reminder, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if you haven't already. You can ask questions in the chat as well. I believe the Q&A function is turned on, so we can use that. And we will be monitoring the chat and answering your questions as we go through. We're going to try to cover all of the information that we have to cover in the next 30 to 40 minutes and save some time at the end for questions. But depending on how many questions as we go along, might get a little tight. So please feel free to use that Q&A function as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see so many friends here already in the chat. So who we are Arena. We convene, train, and support the next generation of leaders. And as a training team, we really believe in community, empowerment, strategy, and growth. So what does that mean? Community, people are welcomed into our space and provided access to resources and connected with practitioners who understand and support them. Empowerment, skills development, and training are a means to empower people to make real progressive change in their communities. Training team value of strategy. Decisions are made intentionally in service of the mission and the team. And lastly, growth. Every experience is an opportunity to push our thinking and hone our skills. And we are always growing, but never fully grown. So these are our training team's values. And for us, being in community is the essential value that makes our work possible. And everything we teach and curate is in service of empowering our community members to make progress for your home communities. And strategy means staying true to the mission, and growth means that we are always learning. Next slide, please. So these are our core services. So training, you're going to hear a lot about this evening, but one of the main things we do is train people in role-specific skills in management and how to make strategic decisions, and also in advanced specializations. So if you're familiar with Arena, you know that our flagship program is our academy. We'll talk a little bit more about that this evening, where we give you role-specific training. We also have an Academy 201 program, which is more focused in management training. And then we have special advanced specializations. So I imagine several of you took our digital skills training last month. So we also do skill-specific specializations. Next slide, please. Thanks. And we have a careers team. So once you go through our trainings, the journey is not finished. We have a careers team consisting of June and Aziz. They are amazing, and they are our team that help you with reviewing your resume, with coaching for an interview, with connecting to people in our graduate database, to ensuring that, you know, once the journey is done with our 3-day, 2.5-day training or 5-day training, that the journey isn't over, that you continue to get support past the initial training. Next slide, please. Community. This is a really important one. We want to help you connect to the wider Arena community. That is one of the greatest things that we can offer you as being a part of Arena trainings. So when you join Arena, you get access to virtual coffees. We have a database of people who have made themselves available to meet with you. You get access to this after you've completed our trainings. And this is a database of folks who have been through Arena or been through or have been existing in the progressive ecosystem, who can offer their insights and connections. We have self-organized affinity groups. It's really important to us that the diversity of our community is reflected in our training. So helping to connect you to people who have experienced situations similar to you. And then also convenings. We make sure to have convenings every couple of years so that folks are able to meet in person and connect face-to-face and strategize about what this progressive ecosystem needs for the years ahead. Next slide. Cool, thanks. And then lastly, our toolbox. You can find that at arena.run/toolbox. And this is accessible to everyone. We have a suite of downloadable tools that can help you from anything from digital to data to fundraising to organizing, really making the skills that you need to run a successful campaign as accessible as possible. So even if you've never attended an Arena training, you can access this toolbox. We have plan templates, we have video guides, we have podcasts. So there are lots of different entry points into the into learning these tools, depending on your method of learning, and we are always adding new tools to that toolbox. And next slide. I'm not keeping up with the chat, but I'll catch up in just one slide. And so we're about to talk about our Arena Summit, which is happening in Georgia later this year, happening from April 18th to the 21st. So we will have 2 paths as a part of Arena Summit. There will be the Academy path, which will be training and the changemaker path. This path does require an application. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next section. And then we'll also have a changemaker path, which includes convenings, requires a registration, but no application. And the changemaker path only takes place from Saturday to Sunday, April 20th through the 21st. So I'll hand it off to you, Jess, to talk a little bit more in detail about the different paths.
Great. If you are looking at this slide and you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A so I can make sure that we get all of the questions answered. We're going to go first into the Academy path, then we'll talk about the Changemaker path, and we'll go into the application for the Academy path so that if you do want to apply for that, then you'll have an opportunity to really understand what will make your application stand out. So again, go ahead and drop your questions in the Q&A. A little bit easier to keep up with than the chat for us as we move through. So, Academy Path. This is a 4-day training experience. It is intended for current and aspiring campaign staffers who are looking to get trained and level up. We anticipate that there will be between 200 and 250 folks, and we do have several application deadlines. So the first deadline, the priority deadline, is in less than a month. It is on Sunday, February 4th. This application deadline is particularly important if you want to be considered for scholarships. We highly encourage you to complete the priority application if you would like to be considered for scholarships. We have a second deadline that is the general admission deadline, which happens on Monday, February 19th. If you're already in Atlanta and you might not need a travel scholarship or something like that, the general admission deadline might be for you, but it will help us out if you are able to apply for a priority deadline. Yes, there is a question in the Q&A. Can people who attended virtual academies attend the academy? Yes, of course you can. And our curriculum is pretty constantly evolving. We are constantly bringing on new trainers and reimagining what our training looks like. So even if you have come to an academy before, there will be new content for you to interact with, new people to meet, and new trainers to learn from. So like we mentioned, the first 2 days are going to be focused on training. You will have the opportunity to dig into a focus area. These are the same focus areas that you've seen before: campaign management, finance, digital, data, comms, organizing, or organizing director. And you'll be able to interact with trainers who are practitioners in those fields. There is one thing that is a little bit different about this one. The academy path, typically we put people on a track and they need to stay in that track and complete all of the trainings for their assigned cohort. At this one, we are going to introduce a little bit of choice. So you will need to complete a majority of your training sessions within your focus area, but you will have the opportunity, for example, if you already know how to write SQL and you're in the data track, you will have the opportunity to go to another session that you're also interested in, as long as you complete a majority of sessions within your concentration. Cool. And again, there is an application process, so we will dig into that in a second. And my dog is right here. So. All right, I'm going to pause here for questions. Can you drop the link for the scholarship? The scholarship link is the same application link, so we won't ask you for anything about scholarship until you have been accepted, and the application process does not consider need for scholarship. So that's the reason why we're encouraging you, if you want a scholarship, to apply early on, is because when we review the applications, we do not look to see whether someone has requested a scholarship or not. We simply look at the merit of the application, and then once that has been, you've been accepted, then you'll be granted a scholarship. And this is taking place at Loudermilk, the Loudermilk Conference Center in Atlanta. Okay, as we've mentioned, we're anticipating about 200 participants, and there is a cost to attend. I'm so sorry. There is a cost to attend, and it is $300.
Just let me know if it's helpful for me to take over.
We'll see. She sometimes incorporates my feedback and she sometimes doesn't. So okay. All right, let's look now at the changemaker path. And again, we will circle back and look at the application. So the changemaker path is over the weekend. It is these 2 days, Saturday, April 20th and Sunday, April 21st. Same location. This is happening at exactly the same place and time as the Academy path. This is intended for people who are also on the Academy path, plus activists and community leaders, elected officials, change makers within the progressive space in Atlanta to come and convene, discuss best practices, etc. We anticipate about 400 to 500 attendees, and we have a registration deadline of Thursday, April 4th for the Changemaker path. Cool. Questions, drop them in the chat, put them in the Q&A. Do we accept Kohl's Cash? Honestly, no, but I wish. Will it be a hybrid format so we could join virtually? Listen, maybe we should pause the recording. We are looking into being able to live stream some of it. We have never done a hybrid before, so we're still kind of scoping it out. I can't promise that, but we're looking into it. If we do live stream it though, I will say we will probably only have the staff capacity to live stream what's happening in the plenary room. So you will miss kind of what's going on in the breakout rooms. Cool. So just to reemphasize, this is an opportunity to really connect with community leaders. We're also anticipating some civic entrepreneurs, people in the social change industry, and looking forward to being in dialogue, not only about what we have done, but what we can do to move our agenda forward. So again, we require advanced registration, though there is no application. We're looking at about 400 participants, and the cost to attend summit is $200. Just keeping an eye on the Q&A. What will Changemaker Path content/programming look like? That's a great question. So we're anticipating that you'll be able to attend on the Changemaker Path any of the trainings and workshops that are available to the Academy Path at that time. So you will have access to Academy caliber trainings. We're also looking at panel discussions. We'll have a pretty robust lineup of keynote speakers. And we also will have kind of some workshops and conversations that will be shaped in coordination with our partners on the ground about issues that are impacting Georgia and learnings that have come out of Georgia. Jessica, do you want to share any more info about Summit, Changemaker Path?
I wonder, would you mind going back to the slide that shows the dates? I know I breezed over that a bit more. So I'm sorry. Oh, perfect. So
12.
Yes, just want to clarify that, and apologies. I know I went just a little bit quickly. So if you are applying for the Arena Academy path, you will attend all 4 days of training. So included in the Arena Academy path is the Changemaker path. So Academy path begins before the Changemaker path. It begins Thursday, April 18th and Friday, April 19th. Those will be days in which you are just with Arena Academy people. And this is skill-specific training. So these, and we will talk a little bit more about the specific paths or about these specific track skills. These are when you will be in specific paths, and that is campaign manager, communications, data, digital, fundraising, organizing director. So if you want to get training in a specific skill, you most likely will want to apply for the Arena Academy path. And then as it says here, it includes training and the Changemaker path. So if you were to attend the Changemaker Path, you would have a specific track that you were in Thursday and Friday. Come Saturday and Sunday, you would be joined by all the people who are registered for the Changemaker Path. The Changemaker Path does not require an application. Anyone can register, and it is more open. So come Saturday and Sunday, if you are on the Arena Academy path, it opens up a little bit. So you can stay in your specific skill training, or there will be a bevy of more options of programming for you to attend. If you just register for the Changemaker Path, you will only be included in the weekend programming. So that's Saturday and Sunday. That is open programming. You're not included as a graduate of Arena Academy. You are not getting the career support. Our Changemaker Path is more of a convening, more of a conference. It includes speakers, workshops. It's really meant to be a space to collaborate about the cycle ahead and to think a bit more big picture. So I'm going to go to the chats and see if there are questions. So the name of the venue is the Loudermilk Center. That's in Atlanta, Georgia. So, and then will we have to attend? Would you recommend Changemaker for community members? Might need to hear a bit more specifically about your question, and maybe we can get to that at the end, Doha. Will you have to attend all 4 days as a change maker? No, as a change maker, you'll attend just the weekend. And yeah, I think is there any other Arena Academy happenings this year? There will be more happenings. I think that covers everything. So I hope that's helpful for those who needed a bit more clarification. And we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. And our partners. We have so many great partners in Georgia. So this is just a few that we will be collaborating with. They are helping to inform our training in Georgia and making sure that it is Georgia specific. So they'll be helping us form the curriculum, form the panels, and just ensure that this training is grounded in Georgia. And then from that grounding, also ensuring that we are making the connections to the larger movement across the state, or I'm sorry, across the nation. Yeah, Jess, I will pass it back to you.
Great. I was unmuted. The panic was for nothing. Also just want to highlight that we have some additional amazing partners who we have not had an opportunity to add to this graphic, but nonetheless, much appreciated. Notably, Mi Familia Vota and New Disabled South are also collaborating with us on this project. All right. And just to clarify again, oh, someone said, how can you become a partner? That's a great question. We will get a link for you. But Sabrina, the quickest way is going to be just to email us at training@arena.run. And we can talk through what partnerships looks like. We're always excited to partner and collaborate. Great. All right. So travel and scholarship. I'm happy to cover this, Jessica, if you want to hop in with any additional stuff. But essentially, you should anticipate that you would need to pay for travel and accommodations at the location. We'll talk about scholarships in a second. We don't presently have a hotel block. We are looking to find a few different hotel options within the area, and we'll have more information about that later on. But we will be providing lunches every day, and snacks and coffee. And if you've ever been to the Loudermilk, just huge shout out to them. Their food is amazing. It is not the brown bag lunch selection. It is like a delightful meal. So very excited for our partnership with Loudermilk. And here are some of the answers to your questions, mostly about scholarships. So scholarships are available to Academy Path participants. We do not anticipate having leftover scholarship funding for Summit Path participants. But historically, over half of Academy participants have received some form of scholarship, and we do offer a fairly wide range of need-based scholarships. This could be covering registration fees all the way to covering costs of travel or lodging. And we occasionally do also cover flights and things like that. So please don't let cost be a barrier to your application. And again, we will evaluate your application entirely on the merit of the application. We do not even look at the request for scholarship when we are reviewing applications. It is not part of the review process. So please, we encourage you to apply. And during that application, we will collect some information from you on job status, any household responsibilities that you have, and income bracket as well, just to kind of help us get a better understanding of where you're coming from. A question about the recording. Yes, there is a recording. It will be sent out to you afterwards. Great. Any other questions? Feel free to drop them in the Q&A. Will you help organize accommodations? Jessica, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as it says here, we have a number of needs-based scholarships. So we're only offering scholarships to Arena Academy Path participants, and they're offered on a range. So scholarships can include either just registration and hotel accommodations, or registration, hotel, and travel accommodations. That is generally the range of scholarships that we offer for Arena Academy Path participants. And if you are included in the housing accommodation, in the hotel accommodations, we will have a block. You will know if you've received a hotel or housing accommodation in your acceptance. So we will not leave you hanging. As soon as you know that you are accepted onto the Arena Academy Path, again, this is just for the Arena Academy Path. As soon as you know you're accepted into that path, you will also know if you're offered a registration scholarship, a hotel scholarship, or a travel scholarship, or any combination of three. And we will provide you the information you need to accept those all of those options. So for full transparency, if you're out of state, that will include usually a flight to Atlanta. But if you were, say, you're in South Carolina and you want to take a bus, you would just tell us that and we'd coordinate that with you. Usually, if you're using some sort of ground transportation, that will be something that you book yourself and that you send us the receipt, and we reimburse you after the fact. If you are in state, you will usually receive, if you're in state and traveling, we'll reimburse you for gas. And that will be a part of the travel scholarship. So if you're out of state, it's usually a flight. If you're in state, if you're in Georgia, it's a little bit more bespoke, and we work with you a bit more individually. Hope that answers the question. Someone asked, can you fill me in on Arena Academy? We are still we've not gotten there. We're still talking about logistics. So we'll get there in just a second.
Well, that was a great segue, though. So we're gonna do, uh-oh, I have to move this. Okay, great. We are going to look at the Academy Path application all together. So when you go to arena.run/summit, you will have this option to register for the Arena Summit. This is where you will register for Summit, the Changemaker Path, or apply for Academy. So you click this button. It's going to give you a little bit of information and tell you the dates. Click next. On this screen, it's going to break down what both of the paths are. Go ahead and scroll down and you will be able to pick Academy Path, Changemaker Path. If you still have more questions, you can click I'm not sure and we'll follow up with you. If you're like on the fence about whether you want to attend Academy or Changemaker and it's getting close to the deadline, strongly recommend that you just go ahead and apply for Academy. Great. So you'll click Academy. When you do, it will give you the same information that we've just covered again and give you information about the deadlines. Click continue, and then it's going to ask for your name. Please put your real phone number. I just don't want to put my phone number in a recording, but please put your real phone number because we will text you about your application and you will have the opportunity to interact with myself or with Jessica to ask questions. We'll send you reminders, etc. And then please put whatever email address you check regularly. Often it's the case that we will have a question about someone's application, we'll email them a question, and then we don't hear back from them for a period of a week or more. And in that case, often we have given their spot to someone else. So please make sure when you put an email address that you're putting one that you check regularly. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to do it. Great. All right, so as I was saying, we encourage you to opt in to our text messages. You can always opt out later, but we really only text about Academy and to see what you're doing with your career. So if you are applying, we ask that you opt into text messages this time and just opt out later if you don't want to be in them so that we can send you reminders. It'll ask for your zip code, your state, and then it's going to ask you if you have been to an academy before. This has no bearing on your application, but we do want to, if you have already applied or been accepted to an academy, we would love to be able to reference your past application materials as well. So I have actually previously completed an Arena Academy 201. I'll click OK. And the one that I attended was Data Fluency for Campaign Leaders. So I'll click that. And then okay. So then it's like, okay, great, we've collected this information. Go ahead and submit this one, and it will take you into the actual Academy application. When you get to this screen, it's going to give you a note. This is going to take you about 15 minutes to complete. We recommend that you complete it in one session. Carsey, yes, you can. You can spam that phone number, although the last 4 digits were not correct. So you can unscramble them if you do. It's also my email signature. So like when you are completing this application, you can close it and return to it later on the same device, but it's really a bummer if your progress gets lost. So really recommend that you just get it all done at once. And you're going to know what the questions are anyway. So you'll have options. You can either record your responses to the questions in a video that takes 3 minutes or less, or a written response of 500 words or less. Completely up to you why you want to attend the Arena Academy path. And then we'll just ask for a PDF, please, a PDF of your current resume. So just click got it when you're ready to move on from this screen. And it's going to ask you again, just make sure that your email address is correct. Make sure that it's not, what's the one that we always get? gmail.con. is one that we get a lot. Make sure it's gmail.com. Make sure it looks good and you will receive emails to that address. Okay. It's going to ask for your current city and your state, again, just to make sure. It's going to ask some demographics questions. You can answer, you can select multiple, you can go through and select as many of these as you'd like to. If you'd like to skip, if you're like, actually, I'm not really interested in telling you about my pronouns, you can, oh, no, you can't. You can click other and you can skip. You can pick as many as you'd like. You can click prefer not to share if you'd like to. And again, just going through all of these, whatever you'd like to select, you're good to do that. And then identity is like a very broad thing. It means a lot of different things to other people. So if you'd like to share anything else about your identity, you can put whatever it is that you would like us to know about you. Dog owner, begrudgingly. That's not true. I love my dog. And let us know how you heard about it. So this is particularly important if you're hearing about this, maybe you're hearing about this from like New Disabled South sent out an email, or New Georgia Project, who's another one of our partners. If you'd like to give our partners a little bit of love and let us know that they're, on your mind, we'd love for you to let us know how you heard about it. And if you have a LinkedIn profile, this could also help provide context during the application. If we have questions about your resume or something like this, we often will look at your LinkedIn profile. This is optional. And then it's going to ask you, which track do you want to apply for as your first choice? So I'm going to pause here and look for questions. If you have any questions, let us know. And I'm going to quickly hop back over to this to look at the tracks. So we offer these 7 tracks: campaign manager, communications, data, digital, fundraising, organizer, and organizing director. This can be a little bit of a, it feels like a big decision sometimes, but remember, at this academy, you will have the option to choose additional sessions that you might be interested in. So it is not necessarily locking you into this track for the entire time, but you will be grouped with another cohort of people. So you will kind of get to know the people who are with you in your track, and you will have a strong training emphasis on one of these subject areas. So the first track is campaign manager. The first track is campaign manager. If you are already a campaign manager on a race, or if you're looking to become one, this is a great track for you. If you have prior campaign experience, maybe you consider yourself like a jack of all trades, or you're an organizing director looking to move into campaign management, that's great. This is kind of one where you will get a little buffet of each of the tracks, because often campaign managers are tasked not only with budgeting and with managing the candidate, but also with understanding how each department works. So if you also have any kind of like transferable experience, maybe you have been like an executive director at an organization or something like that, we encourage you to apply for this one as well. Questions about the campaign manager track? Joseph, I think you're at the September Academy, September 2023. Communications, our next track. Deep dive on crafting and delivering your message to the public. So we start with what a core message is and how to develop that. And then we look at polling, we look at best practices for media planning. We do paid media and also digital. And then we dig into actually interacting with the press. So looking at how to prepare talking points for your candidate, memos for your candidate, and also what to do in a rapid response situation, how to cultivate a relationship with the press that really encourages a dialogue to be able to get your message out under time pressure. If you are an excellent storyteller, you have a lot of experience in campaign strategy and messaging, or no prior experience, you're welcome to attend this track. Grads of the communications track often go on to be press secretaries or associates, and also some go into digital and related fields. But we have a digital track, so if you're mostly interested in digital, we'll talk about that in a second. Data, I saw in the Q&A, someone was interested in data. So data has kind of a mix of high-level strategy and getting into the nitty-gritty. So we talk about targeting theory in this track, really understanding which types of people we want to make sure we're reaching with our campaign and at what time and how to scale that up. We also talk about win numbers and pathway to victory and several different methodologies for calculating those things. So your campaign might be in a different context, or your organization maybe doesn't need a win number. And so we have a few different alternate methodologies that you might employ, and you'll learn those in the data track. There is also hands-on tool skill practice with SQL or SQL, and you will learn to write your first lines of SQL in this track. So if you're looking to come into data, this is great. If you're coming from organizing and you want to break into data, you kind of have a little bit of a theoretical understanding of what data is, and you'd like to learn how to actually apply it. This is a great one. If you're a data practitioner in another field, you're looking to shift into movement work, this is also great for you, because like we mentioned, if you already know SQL, you have the opportunity to kind of go and seek out an additional type of training during that time. And again, no previous data or coding experience required. We start all the way from the very basics of like, what is a database, all the way into queries. Questions about data track? Fab. As I mentioned, there is a digital track as well. So this is really looking, I think, in the past, this was kind of like social media, but now we're really looking at not only social media, but also kind of streaming and things like that. So this is really kind of a robust track that is evolving quite rapidly. Learning how to plan actually a digital program from email to social to over the top to streaming, all the way into budgeting. We also have we have sessions on ads, on fundraising, digital organizing, and more. So if you are maybe coming from organizing and you'd like to know more about digital, maybe breaking into that would be a good option. Josh, I think that was your case. And we also encourage anyone who is new to the work, who has transferable skills, to check this track out as well. It is a big tent. Fundraising. So this track is all about how we build relationships with donors and leverage those relationships to raise money, raise the capacity of our campaign so that we have enough money to spend over the course of the election cycle. So this one starts with the strategy of fundraising and then really digs into different fundraising tactics that you might employ on your campaign or at your organization, ranging from call time, just like making calls to people, to fundraising events, to really researching and understanding who folks are and crafting strong donor memos. And this also touches a little bit on budgeting, because fundraising interacts so closely with budget. We interact a lot with the campaign managers in this track as well. So this is for anyone who likes the idea of building high-powered networks and leveraging your capacity to fund a campaign. I also will say, as someone with an organizing background, I was surprised how naturally fundraising came to me when I got to a point where I was in a position to start asking people for money for program. So fundraising has a ton of jobs available on campaigns. They're often some of the first people that get hired on a race. And if you are an organizer or someone with organizing or even sales skills, and you're looking for your first role in a campaign, or you're looking to kind of level up, have a little bit more security in your timing of hire and things like that, fundraising is a great track for you. I will also add that a lot of campaign management involves fundraising. And so if you are a current campaign manager and you're like me, your background is maybe in digital or in data, and you find yourself in a position where you're having to ask people for money, this is a good one to check out. We also have an organizer track, which Jessica is the track lead for. This is for people who are interested in learning how to do the work of community organizing on a very deep and intentional level. We're talking about managing volunteers in ways that are culturally competent, respectful of volunteers' times, and also very effective for amplifying your campaign's message, moving voters to the polls, and making sure that your voters really know who you are. These have sessions that dig into the specifics of making a hard ask, connecting voters digitally, and basics of VAN. I think we also have some sessions on organizing culturally competent campaigns, and there are some sessions that are combined with the organizing director track so that we can really understand how scripts are written and the rationale that goes into all the things that we're saying on the doors, at the phones, etc. So if you are new to politics or you're transitioning in from movement organizing to electoral organizing, this is a great option for you. We've got a few friends from the organizing the organizing track. So good to see y'all on. And then does organizing include reach? We do have sessions on relational organizing built in. Great. And then the final track is organizing director track, which is really kind of a larger scale. Organizers are talking about how to build community with our constituents. Organizing directors are talking about how to build a program that is effective at targeting and also is managed well so that organizers are able to have a life outside of the campaign while you're also staying on track to hit your goals, your metrics, and your strategy. So we are in a few sessions with the data directors. We're in a few sessions with the campaign managers, and I'm saying we because this is my track that I lead. But we also dig into best practices for script writing and for choosing tactics based on geography and other factors. So this is really for anyone who has at least one cycle of experience as an organizer, looking to level up into that deputy organizing director role, taking on a little bit of decision-making responsibility within the organizing department to make sure that when we step into these decision-making roles, we're prepared not only to run effective programs, but also to be good managers of the people who are looking up to us for leadership and whose lives are affected by our decision-making. All right, those are our tracks. Questions here? Dun, 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 dun. All right, we're going back to the application. So if you remember, we went through the whole application, we gave all of our demographic data, we told Arena who we are, and now we're at the point where we're picking our track. If you don't remember the things that we just talked about, you can click on this link and there is a lot more information about what's covered in each track. But if you already know heading in, I want to be a campaign manager, go ahead and select your first choice track and let us know a little bit about why you want to be the campaign manager. So it could be like, I have always wanted to be a campaign manager. And my past experience as an organizing director made me understand the value of having intentional decision. I think what I'm highlighting here is that oftentimes people will kind of go into this long explanation in this section, and we want to know everything that you have to say, but in this one, just keep it a little bit briefer. So maybe I will likely become a campaign manager. Wow, a lot of pressure when people are watching you. I will likely become a campaign manager for a city council candidate this cycle. Something like that is exactly perfect. We don't need a lot of paragraphs. You'll have an opportunity to do that. And then once you do that, you get to do it again. So if you are like, I could really be either a campaign manager or a fundraiser, perfect. Go ahead and tell us why you'd like to be in fundraising now. So maybe I have a lot of experience in other departments and would love formal training in fundraising to round out my experience. Okay, this is perfect. Bada bing, bada boom. Click submit. It's going to ask about your political experience. Just let us know. It's going to ask if you're currently employed or if you anticipate being employed. It doesn't have an impact on whether you get accepted to Arena Summit. So whichever is true, just put that. And then it's gonna ask you about your most immediate post-summit goal. Maybe you want to get a full-time job on a campaign. I will say for Academy, we are strongly preferencing, or we are emphasizing applications for people who want to continue to work on campaigns full-time. So if your goal after Summit is to volunteer on a campaign, that is fantastic. We are so glad to have you in the movement. The Changemaker path is a better fit for you. The Academy path is really geared towards people who would like to hold paid roles in the campaign. It's going to ask you if you're able to come for the whole summit. It's going to ask you some scholarship questions. I guess I should not rush through this part. I would love to show you the rest of the application. So these scholarship questions, it's just collecting a little bit of information. Again, we do not look at these things as we are evaluating applications for Academy. And if there's anything else you'd like us to know, I am a parent to one dog. I don't like when people say that. I am a manager of one dog. No offense to any pet parents. My dog is, in terms of her life, relatively much older than I am. And then it's going to ask you for your resume, which you can't skip, and I don't have a good PDF available. So let's see what I can come up with. Wow, a resume. And now it's going to ask you, well, here are the prompts. Okay, so here are the application questions. So there are 2 questions. What has inspired you to get involved in campaigns and attend Arena Academy? You will see that there is a maximum of 500 words. This is a hint. And question 2 is, what is something we should know about you that we can't learn from your resume? Again, a maximum of 250 words. So what makes a good prompt response? Well, we're glad that you asked. We would love for you to tell us why this work is important to you, what skills and experience you already have, and importantly, how you plan to put this training to use. That is incredibly important. If you have a goal that you are trying to achieve in terms of what you would like to do with the skills that you learn, please tell us those things. Some common pitfalls. Sometimes people will just like keyboard smash, and I think it's like to get to the next section. If you do that and you want to see what the next question is, don't forget to come back and type over your keyboard smash. We don't really know how to interpret those sometimes. Often people will copy paste cover letters into this question or give us a 1-sentence response. Not a lot that we can do with a 1-sentence response in terms of evaluating it. So please give us a little bit more, give us something closer to 500 words rather than 1 sentence. I think the other thing that I will say here is oftentimes people put ChatGPT responses in, and we are at Arena fans of ChatGPT if it is used effectively, but ChatGPT does not know your life and will give you a very generic response to this question. And it will be a response that we have read a few times because we will have hundreds and hundreds of these applications, and 10% will be ChatGPT. So we will be very familiar with how ChatGPT will respond to our prompts after we've read a few of these. So we have a whole document that has some examples, and I think for the sake of time, we will send you the document as well. But this is a real prompt response that we did accept into Academy. So you can kind of see the link that we're looking for here. And then the second question is something that we should know about you that we can't learn from your resume. This question is optional. So if there's not really anything that you think we should know, then you don't have to put anything. But Jessica, do you mind talking a little bit about this one for just 1 second?
I do mind. Oh wait, no, I don't mind because I do.
All right.
And yeah, this is a space to tell us about your life. So if you run a D&D campaign, if you are a member of your community garden, if you have a goal to visit every single national park in the United States, this is where you should put those little quips. And this is a place to maybe tell us something like unexpected about yourself. But it's really, we want to know more about your like lived experience. So there's only so much we can get from your resume. And we do care to know a bit about you outside of your professional experience. So I think if you just avoid using this, I see this a lot, that people just like continue on with their prompt response in this space, or they continue on with their resume. I always feel like a little like personally bummed there because I feel like, I do want to know a little bit about you outside of your like professional work. So yeah, avoid using it to continue your prompt response. Use it to, tell us a bit about you and what you're bringing and your interests, because we want to know about you as a bit of a full person. Yeah.
Thanks. Here are some examples, much appreciated. Here are some examples, as Jessica mentioned, someone who was like, had visited almost all of the national parks. Oh, is that only a third of them? No, they have visited 1/3 of all 63 national parks, but it is their goal to visit all of them. These types of things, much appreciated. I think we have run over time, but maybe for the sake of finishing this out, we will tell you a little bit about our timeline and when you can expect to hear from us. So assuming that you submit your application, here are a few important dates. So we have this early application deadline, early admissions on Sunday, February 4th. Again, scholarship folks really strongly encourage you to apply by this February 4th deadline. If you do that, you will hear from us by Monday, February 12th. We have another deadline that is on Monday, February 19th. And if you do that, then you will hear from us by Monday, February 26th. There is a whole application review process that goes on that involves at least 2 people, often 3, reading through your entire application, clicking on every link that you have given us, watching your videos, and really thinking about how your responses align with a standardized rubric that we have for evaluating them. So this application process takes a little while, as you can see, and that is the reason why the deadline and the notification date have so much time in between them. And I will also just note that if you apply for your early application deadline we send you, oh my goodness, you've been accepted to Academy Path at Arena Summit, Georgia, and you haven't registered by Friday, February 16th because you accidentally gave us an email address that you only use for your Netflix subscription, then we will give your spot to someone else in the general application pool. So please, again, just a request, please use an email address that you check frequently.
We'll also text you.
Yeah, do you want to talk about waitlist?
I will. So we keep a wait list, and if you are admitted to the wait list, know that we will absolutely get back to you. So please hang tight. You'll hear from us between February 26th to March 8th. That is the date after the early admissions registration has closed and we have opened up general admission. So if you are admitted to the wait list from the general admission, you are going to be looped into the general admissions. So you might hear from us anywhere between the first date that we let out or general admissions to the next round of general admissions. Is there anything you can do to increase my chance of being admitted? Please do respond to all outreach. You'd be very surprised by how often we reach out to people through several different venues and don't hear back. And unfortunately, if we don't hear back from you, we will have to consider you as declining your spot. This is even more important for in-person training, especially if we are considering you for any type of travel or hotel scholarship. Because it is time sensitive, if we don't hear from you, it's quite possible that we will need to release your seat. So please do, I will say even right now, add hello@arena.run to your inbox to just ensure that that you are getting all the messages from us. And how many people are accepted from the waitlist? It truly varies. Again, we hope that people will respond to us promptly. It is more time sensitive with in-person training because there's travel and flights and hotels to consider. So we can't give you an exact number, but just know that we really work our best to get as many people in as possible. And that might mean that we're able to accept you into the training, but we're not able to give you a hotel scholarship or travel scholarship or some variation in between there. But please do just keep abreast of your email correspondence. Next slide, please.
Did it not? Okay.
Am I controlling this slide? No, it didn't go.
It didn't go?
It didn't, but I think it says apply. Yes, I had an idea. So in short, please just apply. We're really excited to get your applications, and we really encourage getting your application in by that early admissions date, because we will start sending out travel and hotel scholarships as early as that general admission date. Jess, do you mind going back to that slide if you're able to? I don't know, Jess, how do you feel? Do you want to stay on for, let's say, maybe like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging tight through us going a little bit over time. So yes, this is the application timeline. So really do encourage you to get in your application by that early admissions deadline, because we will start giving out travel and hotel scholarships in that first round of early admissions. So that early admissions deadline is Sunday, February 4th. Put that in your calendar. You will hear from us within a week, Monday, February 12th. If you're not able to get your application in by that date, we have a general admission deadline of Monday, February 19th, President's Day. So you get the holiday to get that app in. Any questions, you can either drop them in the Q&A or use the raise hand function. Thanks, Carsey. Thanks, Karen.
I'm gonna stop my share, but we'll stay on.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll end the recording too.
Mhm.
Okay, this concludes.
The
I need to
record.
gavel out. This concludes the info. The recording is done.